my son asked me that. He goes, so if the Lions lose, you'll have to make a song about the Lions? I was like, it's part of the job.
It's part of the job.
It's just like, this is what life is like when you get older. About. Sometimes your team loses and you have to make an AI song about them.
Yeah, damn, Dad. Life is tough. Oh, yeah, that's right. Life's going to be tough today. Let me just tell you, son. Okay, because we're going to be breaking down the Lions and the things they did wrong in that game, but he'll have to deal with it. He's going to get mad at me. What's up, everybody? This is Chris Simms. This is Chris Simms Unbuttoned. As always, we are presented by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. Yeah, I know. When I write notes for the Lions games, I'm literally like, maybe I shouldn't write it as harsh. This line as harsh as I normally would with another one because I'm like afraid you're going to read it and be like, what the hell? And then you're going to get all defensive and all that. So I am a little careful.
And I truly do believe that, right? Because you care about me and you don't want me to be depressed even more than I already am.
Exactly right.
But then you see them go for a fourth down and you're like, screw it. I don't care anymore.
Hell with Ahmed. I got to put him in his place. I almost wrote a note to you at the end of the Lions notes this week. And was going to say something that like encapsulated the loss, and I stopped. I was just like, well, the guy's doing a triple header in basketball tonight. He's been working hard. I'll let him go. He's here with one of his gross energy drinks. What's happened? I thought we turned the corner here.
Yeah, I had.
But back to addictions after a tough loss. We're on the wagon again.
Although in my mind, so I did have the triple header last night. Some good action on Peacock too. But in my mind, I'm like, you know what I am going to give up though?
What?
I'm going to give up alcohol.
Wow.
Until the Lions win the Super Bowl.
Oh, don't do that.
It was like a rash decision right at the end of the game.
You said that at the end of the game to yourself? Seriously? Like you're
I don't
being
know
serious
why.
right now?
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where you hear.
Why torture yourself?
It seems like a bad idea. And we're going to the Super Bowl. I'll be there for a couple days, and I'll probably drink there.
I mean, especially with me peer pressuring you.
But it's one of those things where I'm like, Chris always gets on me about the energy drinks. I was like, I know alcohol is bad for you too, and so maybe I should stop that. So at least right now.
But at least like the alcohol, you have fun and then you die. Like the energy drink just gets you all jittery and then you die. It's not as good.
Yeah, that's a great point.
There's a better payoff with the alcohol.
That's a great point. All right, I may reconsider, but as of right now, I'm not drinking. I could change 3 days from now. So we got a lot to get to.
Yep.
You looked at notes. You go, I'm not gonna. I'll take a glance through some of these games. I followed them pretty closely, so I don't think that I'll write that many notes. It was more than ever.
I do have a problem. I don't know what it is. Well, as I sit there and watch it, and I promise you, I go into watching the game going, I'm just going to watch it and write down basic thoughts here, not get too in the weeds, not annoy you and Pete with having to decipher all my notes, and two, not bog myself down to where I'm like, I've been sitting here for 6.5 hours now going over details and writing notes, and I go down these wormholes of, I just get too obsessed. And then I do find things that I think are themes and things that we've talked about or things I want to show, and then that leads me to, looking for it a little more in-depthly and seeing if it happens again or whatever, and it slows down the whole process. So I'm sorry about that. We got lots of notes. We got lots of stuff to talk about today.
Well, you're realizing, like many people do, they say appreciate all these games because there's not that many left.
It's sad.
We got 3 more.
It hit me a little on Sunday night. When the Bills-Ravens game came to an end, I was like, man, I can't believe this. There's only 3 games left. The NFL season, like I'm the type that I told you. I mean, most likely will cry before the Super Bowl.
Star Spangled Banner, that moment?
Usually when I see the players coming out of the tunnel, like my kids will look at me and be like, are you going to cry, Dad? Because I'm always so happy for like the players that are getting to like live their dream, right? Yeah. So that's always cool. And then at the end, I'm like happy. Oh my gosh, that team won the Super Bowl. That's cool. But I'm also like, oh my gosh, it's over. Like, what do I do? I mean, I feel empty right now. Monday nights, Thursday nights, right? Saturday this weekend is all going to feel very, very empty. And I'm getting used to this new lifestyle right now. Yeah.
And you go, what am I going to do? Look at 842 college players.
That's right.
That are hoping to be a first-round pick.
Right.
Is what you'll do. But you'll have a fun week in New Orleans. I'll be there for a couple days with you.
Yes,
so
we will. We'll have
be
fun. We definitely are going to have some fun.
Up until the end.
I believe it's Mardi Gras there maybe at that time. Usually they do it around that time there. So that could be fun yet disastrous all at one thing. We'll see.
Well, it was Vegas last year for a week. And everyone was there. I was there for a day and a half.
Right.
And you guys were there for a week.
Yeah.
And they go, a day and a half, that's probably about perfect.
Oh, no, I was there for 10 days.
Is too long.
10 days. No Mardi Gras, as Pete's telling us. That's
but
disappointing.
you can celebrate it as if it were.
Well, yeah, we will. That's what we'll do.
So we will We will. He doesn't like the pronunciation of the Mardi Gras.
Yeah, I know.
I like it.
Mardi Gras.
Sorry, Pete. I like it. I approve of it. So we will look at the matchups. We'll go through all of Chris's notes here. But we want to start with a quick hitter on the Pick Six podcast.
Yep.
We split it up into 6 ways. And if we don't have 6, we cut one in half and make it 6. We just make it work however it will work. So let's start with the coaching news. I know you've talked about this a little bit already, but my Lions have been raided.
Yep.
So Ben Johnson gone to the Bears.
Yep.
It looks like Aaron Glenn might be gone to the Jets, reportedly finalizing a deal to hire him there. And Terrell Williams reportedly gone to the Patriots over there with Josh McDaniels, and he was our run game defensive line coach, run game coordinator, assistant head coach. And so the Lions coach, it's going to be Dan. I made the joke. It's going to be Dan Campbell like Chuck Norris. He'll coach the team, he'll coach the offense, he'll coach the D-line. And he'll punt as well for them.
Well, they got a good staff there. They had to have seen some of this coming up. It's the last year and a half. You've had a feeling that Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson could be gone, right? So I would think that they've thought about that and people within their program already that could fill that void already. The one thing I don't know and I'm interested to know is Terrell Williams. Was he a guy that was in play to be the next D coordinator for Aaron Glenn? Right? That's, I think, was the interesting thing there. And then, of course, goes to New England to be a DC there and help Vrabel out. I think first we start with Ben Johnson, right? Ben Johnson, you've heard me talk about him. I mean, you watch football, you watch Lions football. There's never been a better offense in Lions history than what Ben Johnson has done with it. Yeah, he has talent, but we all recognize the way he calls the game, the unusual looking plays that we don't see other teams do, right? The gutsy plays, the trick plays, all of that. It is off the charts good. And I've been on record trying to say the last really 2-3 weeks, I think he's the best OC about to be head coach candidate since Shanahan McVay in 2017, right? That's how awesome he is. He's definitely, without question, one of the best offensive minds in the game. And, had heard rumors about other teams in the process, but over the last 7-8 days, it kind of felt like Chicago. I started to hear it from people I trusted in the business. I was saying it on other, I was with Kay Adams the other day on Monday, and she asked me about it. I go, man, I think it's the Bears from everything I hear. And it's also duh, it should be the Bears. This is where we thought it would be really if Matt Eberflus fell off. We even said that before the year. We joked a few times, Ben Johnson's going to be the head coach of the Bears next year, if they don't play well.
Yeah, real funny joke.
Right. Well, and now it's a spot. And I think there's a reason why Belichick was also interested in Chicago. Its team is set up. They're ready, right? It's not far off. We've discussed it a lot. The offense has got everything. They need an offensive lineman here or there. Defense, they just got about everything. Maybe a D tackle, right? Maybe a guy in the secondary. But damn, they're really it's ready now. And I think between that, Ben Johnson obviously felt comfortable with the power structure within the organization, as far as Ryan Poles and the GM. So I think all of that, I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see it, one, because I know you don't like the Bears, but the Bears are old school NFC power, and I do feel like it's fun when Chicago and their fan base is a part of it. Sure. And I think that's one of the things that's so appetizing about that job is because they have been so mediocre and low level. I think all coaches are like, oh, I'd love to go to Chicago and then reignite that organization, right? So between that, the quarterback he's going to play with, it's a pretty awesome match.
I mean, I do think it's fun that they will get to play the Bears, the Lions, 2 times a year now. And so you get that storyline built in.
Some real personal rivalries
built in already.
I am there.
A little surprised because I have some Chicago Bears friends. I still call them friends. I don't know how. That they were like, we need, and you heard this from the Bears, the leader of men. I want a guy who's done it before. The Ron Rivera's, the Mike Vrabels who got snatched up right away. And so I don't know that Ben Johnson can't be that, and they obviously feel like he can.
Yeah.
And Mike Florio made a good point in one of his stories about it. And it's like you're paying him $13 million a year or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But teams do that with draft picks all the time. You pay them a lot of money, you draft them high up, and you don't know if they're going to pan out or be all that. And so that would be the one thing is that
that's the question.
He's a little bit of an unknown, as was Eberflus coming in. Could he handle the head coaching job?
I agree. I mean, we can look at a lot of successful or unsuccessful head coaching hires and go, we don't know how it's going to work, whatever else, right? I mean, one, yes, we didn't get to see, I think he's an under-the-radar guy. He wasn't trying to be front and center. I think he's a true ball coach. And then when you're in an organization with Dan Campbell, he's going to dominate the spotlight and be the voice of the organization. You know that. And if you're a good coach and a good soldier, you're going to let that be and not try to be like infringing on that, which is what I get a feel from Ben Johnson. Mm-hmm. But having heard him talk a few times and even just yesterday, and the fact that I know he was in front of that offense talking to them, and then they got a lot of veterans and people have been around the block and some alpha males there. He obviously can handle the workload in that department. Now, yes, it's going to be a little different with being the head coach and having to worry about some other things and all of that, certainly. But, man, I see a lot more positives than negatives. There's always the unknown about the inexperienced head coach guy, right? I mean, we didn't know how Dan Campbell was going to work out with the Detroit Lions. Right. So you got to trust the Dan Campbell structure, right? That you're getting Ben Johnson, and he's also got something of Dan Campbell and the ability to face adversity head on, talk in front of the media, say what needs to be said, can talk to his team, and I think we'll see that with Ben Johnson.
Yeah, it's hard because if you get the guy who was the former head coach, he's available because he sucked his last few years.
Or he was,
got fired,
exactly, right. Or it wasn't splashy or sexy or whatever else. Right. I mean, Mike McCarthy's deserving of being a head coach. He's done a really good job. If he gets rehired somewhere, I feel like no matter where he goes, some of the fan base is going to be like, we just got Mike McCarthy, that's it, right? And I know that sucks, and I don't like saying that out loud either, but I just think that is a little bit of the reality to your point.
Tired of the storyline.
Yeah.
Aaron Glenn, you also talked about this on Sunday night. So you said you thought Ben Johnson was Chicago, and you said, I think Aaron Glenn's going to the Jets, and it looks like that's what's going to happen.
Usually teams go with people that there's a history with to a degree, right? It's why in a lot of that's why the Saints are interested in Aaron Glenn. It's why the Saints are interested in Joe Brady up in Buffalo, because there's history, right? It's always make you feel a little bit better to hire somebody you know about a little bit. I've been there. I worked with him. I can trust him. He's not a bullshitter. He works hard every day, right? So those are always things that give you an advantage. Aaron Glenn, I think, would be amazing in New York. One, I think his personality. He played here. He was a legend for the Jets. He knows the New York media, what it's all about, how people are going to be like, yeah, you're awesome until you go 0-2, and then be like, yeah, you suck. Like literally that quick, the same person's going to say that, but he'll let that roll off his shoulders. Here's the other aspect too. I'm pumped to see Aaron Glenn with this defense, the personnel they have, right? My one complaint with the Jets is that, hey, with that great defense, it's cool that you're simple and you play Seattle scheme, but I also think there's like a maximization that's missed in that. And the fact that their defense, or as talented as it is, doesn't create a lot of chaos, doesn't create turnovers, because it's like, hey, we know what we're getting every play if you're playing on offense. Aaron Glenn's going to bring a different defense to the field every week, right? And that's what I'm excited for. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets maybe let up a few more yards, right? Maybe a few more points than they have in years past. But I think they're going to be more dangerous of like, well, shit, they won this game because they caused 4 turnovers, a strip sack, and Sauce Gardner had a pick 6, right? And that's where it's going to be different, and I think that will be cool and an energizing factor for that Jets franchise.
And I will be interested to see how much of Dan Campbell's aggressiveness as a fourth down goer for it guy
right.
will
if that
translate
changes.
over. Yeah, right. If they saw the merit in that, or if they're their own people, which I'm sure they are.
Or if you feel like, I got to think part of that and going for it on 4th down is going, wait, I got an OC who's got a trick up every sleeve in his body, right? He's always got something. So that makes me feel a little bit better because, I mean, he calls plays that screw defenses all the time. And I know he's got a little special category for, gotta have it plays, right? 4th down, 2-point conversions, whatever it may be. And that helps you. So I'll be interested to see that too. That will be fun to watch.
Interested to see how the Lions, maybe they are a little less aggressive next year.
Yeah,
and,
maybe.
One more before we get over to the 2 championship game previews here.
Yeah.
Your buddy Josh McDaniels back with the Patriots. What do you think of that?
I mean, I love it. This is another one that was like, duh. Like, kind of knew this was going to happen for about 2 weeks, right? They did their due diligence. I love it in a lot of ways. One, I love Vrabel. I love him as a head coach. I don't even know him that well. I just know him from interviewing on TV and passing by and stuff like that. But it doesn't matter. I love the way he handles himself, talks to a team, the things I hear from coaches who have worked for him, players, all of that. I've told you, I think he's got a great mix of Belichick and Parcells, maybe being a little bit more Parcells-ish. And then Josh McDaniels, of course, fits that coaching style. Right? I like that New England is keeping some of the Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick culture alive there in New England. They're not direct spin-offs from that guy, but it's like, hey, they're rooted in the basic principles of Parcells and Belichick. And that was a special, special culture there. So why wouldn't you want to kind of keep that along? And then Josh McDaniels fits that, and Josh McDaniels fits Vrabel in. Vrabel's very game plan specific. Josh has incredible ability to be have a variety of offense, can attack you a number of different ways. Like the thing I used today with Florio was like, hey, if you need to run the ball every play because it's 70-mile-per-hour winds in Buffalo, McDaniels will come out and go, hey, I'll figure out a way. I got a game plan. We can run the ball every play. Let me do that. Oh, we're going to throw the ball every play like it's 2007 again with Tom Brady. Well, I can do that too. I'll show you how to do that. Right? So he's that, plus what he can do with Drake May. All of it made sense, let alone he's going to know what Vrabel expects and what the Crafts expect and all of that. I think that's a home run hire. And, of course, Terrell Williams on top of that to be an extension of Vrabel on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah. If Vrabel wants to go, hey, I want to go sit in the coaching's meeting on the offensive side today and just kind of hear what Josh is saying because this team plays a special defense and I just want to make sure we're on all the nuances, I could trust Terrell knows what I want to say on the defensive side and do that. That's where I like all that.
Of all the divisions in football, the AFC East will definitely be one of the more interesting ones.
It
right?
will be.
Because you got Vrabel over there with McDaniels in New England. They've been the doormat, and it hasn't been that interesting the last couple of years here.
Right.
You got the Jets and Aaron Glenn, new coach. That's always interesting.
Always energy and potential there.
Miami, end of an era, hot seat. Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, you're going to be on that. Exactly right. We're going to be on that type of watch. And then Buffalo, we're going to be like, well, damn.
Coming off a Super Bowl win.
Yeah, did they go to the Super Bowl? Did they win it? Did they lose it? Right? Yeah. Is Joe Brady there or not? I don't know. So, yeah, we're going to have lots to talk about.
All right, we have lots to talk about in this podcast, but Pete is going with an early commercial break right here. We're going to take it. We're just going to gather our thoughts before we do the previews and what you saw in your notes. We got to take this time to decipher what you wrote in your notes. We'll take a break and preview the Bills-Chiefs coming up next. Welcome back to Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Now time for the DraftKings Super Bowl LIX matchup odds. Chris tells me that's 59. I'll take his word for it.
It is.
So here are the odds of what we will see. Chiefs, Eagles, the most likely. Bills, Commanders, according to the odds makers, the least likely. Pete has put in here, what is the Buzz Watch? We used to do that. Remember that? That stopped a while ago, though. Yeah. But we may bring that back next year. Which would be the most buzzworthy matchup? Out of those four, what would get people talking the most?
Gosh.
My gut says Chiefs in there for the three-peat, even though I know some people are like, we're sick of it.
Right.
Bills have never won it before. When the Chiefs are there, that's buzzworthy enough.
I feel like it is because, I mean, you just know how many people hate the Kansas City Chiefs right now, right? And then, of course, there's the people that are on the bandwagon and following them, so that's a big part of that.
And can they go back to back to back?
Right.
I mean, that's super
pretty
compelling.
Special. I think that, I think that's hard to deny that aspect, okay?
I would love to see the Bills there.
Right.
I think it would be cool. It'd be awesome.
I'm
and
with
Josh
you there.
Allen's
Bills,
fun to
Eagles,
watch.
I think would be the second biggest one with buzzworthiness, too, just because it's going to be like, whoa, Josh Allen finally got here, right? Now can he win this one and win the big one? Oh, it's the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. They lost it the first time around. Can they squash that, bad vibe from that first loss to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? So those are the two I think that would maybe move the needle the most.
Which one are you putting first then?
I think Chiefs-Eagles.
Chiefs-Eagles.
I think would be the one that would get the most buzzworthy. I do. Listen, let me say this. I mean, I've Bills Commanders 1991 Super Bowl 26. That would be cool. I would say though the Commanders scare me a little in the Super Bowl. They do a little.
You think that game might turn out to be lopsided? You want a competitive game?
I could be. I just get a little scared. Right, I've seen moments of the Commanders get totally dominated sometimes this year, and it gets scary that way.
Yeah.
Now their quarterback seems to always come through in the clutch, but I think those first two would probably be the one that I would want to see the most: Chiefs Eagles or Bills Eagles.
I think the buzzworthiest actually would be Chiefs Commanders, because because Eagles, there's enough people they're just like, I don't
They're
want
kind
to
of
see
sick
the
of them
Eagles
too.
win again. Then
I
they go,
know.
I don't want to see the Chiefs win it again. Where you got the Chiefs, then you got those people that don't like the Chiefs and want to see them lose.
Right.
You can root for a fun team.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels, the #1 quarterback in the NFC.
Yeah,
according
so
to
you're
Chris
saying
Simms,
the Chiefs with the Jaden and then the Jaden Daniels
as
aspect,
the underdog,
right.
the plucky underdog story.
I don't think we're really going to be cheated in any bad ones. I mean, even
Yeah.
with the Bills Commanders, it's still going to be like, oh, Josh Allen, can he do it? And it's rookie Commanders quarterback, right? All that. So at least there's some good ones there. We'll see where it goes. And like I said, I really got to think about picking the games here as far as I don't know where I'm going to go yet.
We're going to try to read the tea leaves here in a second, but we just want to remind you the DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. New customers can bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly.
Download the app and use promo code UNBUTTON when you sign up.
DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is
yours.
I guess they just give you the crown. Right? It's just like it's already yours.
Yeah, it's already yours. And
can you win some money too?
Yes, but give us $5 and we'll give you $200 back and the crown instantly.
Yeah, and eventually, if you lose enough, we might need back that crown. We're gonna have to take that back. All right, #2 now on the pick six, AFC Championship preview. We got the Bills, we got the Chiefs. You looked at both of their divisional games. You gleaned some new things, some new thoughts, what they did. Let's start with the Chiefs O and the Bills D.
Yeah.
And starting with the Bills defense, because I think that was the question. They were not able to slow down the Ravens when they played earlier in the year.
No.
I mean, Derrick Henry ran for 80-something yards on the first play. And so you wondered, all right, the Bills are going to do something different, maybe have more tricks up their sleeves. You look at the numbers, Chris.
Yes.
And you're like, wow. Ravens just did it to him again.
Wasn't much different.
Just about as many yards. The one difference, the takeaways, turnovers, obviously that was a story of it. But all the raw numbers and the yards per play, Ravens still moved the ball quite easily.
Wasn't different. I mean, the start of my notes, you saw it. I wrote 57 plays for 416. Wow. 7.3 yards per play and lose, right? I wrote, you f***ed something up if that's the case, that you know that. Now, the value in this, and this is why numbers don't always tell the whole story, the fact that they did some different stuff on defense and were definitely more aggressive and took the tactical chances we talked about so much during the week, right? It did create chaos for the Ravens a few times. It did. They did not get, compared to the first matchup where they were just like, run left, 8 yards, run right, 9 yards, drop back to pass, 10 yards. At least this one, it was run left, oh shit, we got 0. Oh, run up the middle. Oh, we got 0. Oh, third down. Oh, actually, people are covered. Oh, Lamar made a play. Oh, they got the first down. Okay, at least it wasn't like that. The first one, it was like he drops back to, wide open, first down. Oh, he's gone for a touchdown. See you later. So it was different as far as how they acquired those yards. Mm-hmm. And let's not forget, they called off the horses in the first one, too, with a huge lead. And we're like, we don't need to run the offense much anymore. But as we kind of said Sunday night, the Bills won some big moments. The Bills made the Ravens at least uncomfortable in this one, and they got Lamar Jackson to make a few mistakes along with the rest of the team. And sometimes that's when you do different stuff and create the chaos that we talk about. It makes teams and players feel uncomfortable. You know how like sometimes in the NBA, they're like, this team's an unbelievable shooting team. And then they play like the #1 team in the NBA on defense.
Yeah.
And you go, well, damn, like their shots aren't getting blocked, but they're just missing them.
They're
just
not
else.
hitting today.
And it's like, well, yeah, sometimes because they're not used to somebody that fast or the defense being that long and all around them, and they're uncomfortable, right? So it's like they're open, yeah, but there's a different feel out here. Like I'm open, but I got to get it up because it's going to get blocked, or this guy's big coming at me. Boom.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing in football.
You're speeding
right?
everything up
You're
a little
speeding
bit.
everything up because of the elements were changed on the other side. And I think that is what happened a little bit. And we got a few plays, too, that I think will show that.
So you knew Sean McDermott and the Bills were not just going to go into this game without some wrinkles or some new things.
Right. They had to do it.
You wanted to see exactly what they were going to do. So our first one here is about 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. This is the first play of Baltimore's second drive. It was a run to Derrick Henry on this one.
Yeah, run to Derrick Henry. But we talked about all week, like if you play it status quo, especially like they did in the first matchup where it was like 4-3, cover 4, like basic Madden football beginner's defense, right? The Ravens are going to just absolutely torch you and just crush you. Okay, so here we go. We got 3 receivers to the left. Isaiah Likely coming in motion. You could see, first off, what jumps out to you about the defense in the picture we're showing, right? Just, is there anything that jumps out to you specifically?
I mean, you got a bunch of guys at the line
there. That's it. That's what I'm saying. I mean, look how close everybody is. You got 10 guys basically within 3.5 yards of the line of scrimmage, right? 10 of them. There's 1 safety back. Everybody else is like, hey, we're ready to come downhill and hit and squash Derrick Henry. You got 6 people at the line of scrimmage. So they bring this motion, and you're going to see DeMar Hamlin, who we have squared out here in the little yellow box, okay? He's in a blitz. He's in a blitz off the edge, but this is this type of stuff you got to do. You can't just stand there and go, hey, this is the defense we're in. You see it now. Now just block us, all right? Figure it out. They never let them figure it out in certain situations. Let's go to the next picture, Pete, because you'll see the motion go by, right? They're going, I mean, he can't blitz. He's got to cover one of us, right? He's got to do something like that. And no, he voids Isaiah Likely in coverage. He must read a key or whatever, and he comes down and makes a tackle for Derrick Henry behind the sticks, right? And it was stuff like this that at least made, again, it made Baltimore, Lamar think. It probably made them access a few different plays where they were like, wait, we want to run this, but they're playing so aggressive at the line of scrimmage. We can't do that right now. And those were good little moments that at least made them struggle, right? Because as we talked about, they moved the ball. The Bills did everything on defense. They played hard, and they still creative and still had to have the Ravens kind of up to win it a little bit, right? And but I do think some of this stuff is why they up to a degree.
So that first matchup, they didn't have a whole lot of 3rd and long, 2nd and longs.
Exactly right.
This one we have early 2nd quarter. We got a 2nd and 14. So what are the Bills doing on this potential passing down?
2nd and 14. And look at this again now. Same type of thing, right, Ahmed? It's not 10 guys up by the line of scrimmage, but this time it's 7 guys literally on the line of scrimmage.
Right.
2nd and 14 on your own 49-yard line is usually not the place teams go, let's bring out the all-out blitz, right? And within it, just show it and just be like, screw you. We're going to line up in it, and let's see if you have the right answers, okay? And here they are. You're going to see they blitz, okay? Play the next snap, next picture. They blitz. They have 1 guy drop out. So it ends up being a 6-man pressure. 1 guy drop out because when you're playing cover 0 and everyone's just man-to-man with no safety help or no help anywhere, there's certain routes, like a shallow cross right here by Isaiah Likely, that you can't cover that, perfectly when you're playing 6 yards off and now you got to run around another one of your teammates and get to that guy. So they had a guy there just in case for this type of thing. Ball gets batted down, boom, knocked down, 3rd and long. Now, I believe they might have converted the next 3rd and long, but either way, again, it shows you some of the chances they were willing to take, and it makes another point, too. Within this play and what they did throughout the game, I think they blitzed a few times tactically because the Ravens are a throw-the-ball hot team, right? Lamar doesn't go like, oh, they're blitzing. Hold on, let me change the protection. Let me keep the tight end in. Now we're going to throw it down the field. Their offense is a little bit more like, hey, if this guy blitzes and this guy blitzes, we got this guy. He's watching it too. Throw the ball hot. And I think a few times the Bills tactically were like, let's just blitz. He'll throw it hot. We know where he's going to throw it hot, and we'll just get the tackle. And, okay, they got a completion, but it's only for like 2 or 3 yards because on hot routes, like a guy comes up the line of scrimmage, he kind of turns and shows his body, like, throw it to me because they're blitzing, and there's usually space, but they kind of knew where they were going to throw it, and it was one of the things that certainly helped them through the game too.
How many of the new things or the different things you saw the Bills do are going to be effective or necessary against a Chiefs offense?
Yeah, they're going to have to do it, but I think they're going to have to do it in different ways. The Chiefs offense is not as good as the Ravens. The Ravens offense is all-time special, right? I mean, it's all-time special. The Chiefs offense is not that. So this time around, I don't know if they have to worry necessarily as much as being bullied at the line of scrimmage quite as much. They'll be able to play, hey, some of that stuff we saw there, but I think this game there'll be a little more thought of like, hey, we want to do some of that, but let's get the hell out of there and cover because Mahomes and throwing the ball is really what we're scared about. The Chiefs' running game is not hitting on all cylinders right now. Isaiah Pacheco does not look the same. You said that on Sunday night, right? It's not the Chiefs' running game does not seem as powerful as it was last year going to the Super Bowl. And some of that, too, is because Joe Thuney has moved out to left tackle. And now you got one of the best parts of their team is their interior part of their O-line. Creed Humphrey, all-pro. Joe Thuney, all-pro-ish, right? And then the other guy, Trey Smith, at right guard, that was a strength of their team. Now, because of the left tackle issue, now that takes a hit because Tooney's moved out there, and now they're not quite as good inside either with 66 Caliendo playing the left guard situation.
Yeah, because not to switch you all around and make you flip through your notebook, but for the Chiefs, when you're looking at them, offensive line, pass protection, that is an area of weakness. Potentially.
It is. I mean, I worry about it. Now, they played pretty well as far as pass protecting last week. They did pretty good. I definitely saw the run game was an issue. Right? This Bills D-line, it's good. It's good. It's not the pass rushers that the Houston Texans are, but I do think it's a little more stout against the run, okay? I think that's where they're a little different. And unlike the Houston Texans, who didn't have the D tackle that could maybe take advantage of Caliendo and all that, the Bills do. If Ed Oliver plays Sunday night like he did the other night against the Baltimore Ravens, the Chiefs are Patrick Mahomes is going to be moving and making plays happen, trying to get away from him a lot throughout the football game.
As good as you've seen Ed Oliver?
Ed Oliver, I think it was about as good as I've ever seen. I mean, he had some physically dominant football plays. The stats won't even say it because he created chaos too and made Derrick Henry cut and move and got some pressure on Lamar Jackson a few times and all of that. But yeah, this is a team, and I said this the first time around when they played. This matchup has changed. The Bills are better than last year. They're better than the year before, and I believe the Chiefs are a little lesser than the first 2 years they've just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think the Chiefs are as good at either offense or defensive line as they were the last 2 years playing there. You've heard me talk about L'Jarius Sneed and all of those issues there as far as they're not quite as good on defense in general, right? They don't create the same amount of pressure on the quarterback, all that, and that's where I think this matchup is dead even. Dead even. Now, here's the other thing, just with the Chiefs on their offense real quick.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see, will the Bills play some man-to-man? The Bills, they gambled and played man-to-man against the Texans like we showed you there. That'll be interesting to see. Are they going to be scared of Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy? Because, of course, they can run by you. And Mahomes, he did put one deep ball on the money to Hollywood Brown that he should have caught. I'll be interested to see their approach. I don't think they're going to have to take the amount of chances they did last week against Baltimore, is what I'm saying. Now here, we're going to just say this one little funny thing, because you talked about the Super Bowl matchups and how much people hate the Chiefs.
Yeah.
The people hate the Chiefs so much that we are complaining about the sixth play of the game, the quarterback getting hit in the head. With the Chiefs, the most clutch fourth quarter team ever, we're going to the sixth play of the game on the offense and going, the Texans got robbed because of the sixth play of the game where they called roughing the passer on Patrick Mahomes. That's where we've gotten. That's when you know you're great.
Yeah.
When you were going into the first drive of the game and going, that was the game. Forget the team that I've seen make every game a game in the fourth quarter, no matter what the circumstances are. That was it. Oh, yeah, and that other play early on in the fourth quarter, like with 12 minutes left, that was the other one. Oh, okay, against a team that's like done how many amazing things in the last 6 minutes of a game in our lives? Come on, everybody. I just had to throw that out there because I think that is hilarious, right? The clutchest team in the history of football, like basically, and they're down by 10 in every Super Bowl and they win. But yet, we're sixth play of the game is where they won it this week. Okay, come on, everybody.
Did the NFL make you say that?
No.
Did they call you up and say, hey, if you wouldn't mind on your pod?
Well, here's the other thing I think that happens with these whole things, too, is like, yeah, everybody's sick of the Chiefs. People are looking for things with problems that happen with the Chiefs, right? If there was the same passion the other way around, right, like, Chiefs fans, they would also be able to find penalties not called on other teams too. They don't give a shit because they're like, we won, so what? But this is what happens, and it is I actually, for the first time ever, kind of annoying me, actually.
What do you think about, so we'll move on.
Yeah.
I don't want you to get worked up. What do you think about Travis Kelce in this one? What role might he play? Because obviously in the postseason he's been very good. He's picked up his game. He usually does that in the postseason.
This is his kind of game.
So earlier this year, when the Bills beat him 30-21,
right.
Kelce had 2 catches for 8 yards. They were able to contain him. Didn't go to him that often.
No, well, I think what Andy Reid said was right. Is that there was nobody else to worry about early on in the year on their offense other than him. So there was a tension there. The Texans just treated him like a normal guy, which I understand. Again, he hasn't played in a capacity where you're like, we got to double him this play. We got to put our best corner on him in this play. It hasn't been that this year. So I think they're looking at it going, hey, we're just going to play our good defense, and we know where he is, and we'll make it work. But, unfortunately, when you play zones and you play Mahomes and he looks you this way and then buys a few extra seconds, it's the zone moves, it spreads apart, and then he finds the right place to sit, and it's boom, right? And that's kind of what happened a few times in the football game, let alone, and this is where Chiefs will feel good this week. We talked a lot. The Bills play zone. The Chiefs are phenomenal at spreading out zones. They're phenomenal, right? And like whether it was the big play, the 50-yard pass to Travis Kelce, where Al-Shazier just messed up. He left his area thinking like he was going to go help somebody else because Mahomes kind of looked to the right, and he had somebody there already. He did not need to react that way, and he just left a huge void, so he threw the curl over the middle, and then Kelce made the play after the catch. Then there's the play in the end zone, the touchdown, right, where he's vertical, right? Mahomes throwing the ball, or horizontal, I should say. I don't know why I keep saying vertical.
Angle, I think it was about 45. Yeah.
Right? And I should have asked Pete to show that play too, just because not only the throw, but again, they spread out the zone. The Texans were trying to kind of play 4-on-3, but Andy and Mahomes and them are so good at when you play these zones of sending 2 guys in directions that really stress it out, and then they find a guy to kind of sit somewhere in the middle of it. And that's what happened on the touchdown, and those are things that are definitely going to be positives for the Chiefs in this matchup because, like I said, the Bills aren't a huge man-to-man football team.
We will see that play on your social media accounts.
Yeah, we're going to show that later, right?
We will do that, so check out Chris on Instagram and X as well. So we talked about the Bills, some wrinkles on defense. They had to do it, slow down that right. Ravens offense. When you looked at the Chiefs defense, obviously a much better defense, and last year you made the case that they're a defensive team with Patrick Mahomes making some magic every once in a while and owning a few moments.
Right.
Similar to that this year. When you looked at what Kansas City on D, as we switch it over here to the Chiefs D and Bills O, what did they do? You noticed that they're doing some things even that they had not done. They're not just relying on their guys making plays. No. They're actually throwing some wrinkles out
They always do. That's what's awesome about them. And the Chiefs, the good thing for them, their D-line is completely healthy, and they should be able to be very versatile up front according to down and distance and the personnel that the Buffalo Bills play, right? But this is where this matchup has changed. This is where it's changed. Again, this is where it's even. This is where I'm going to go home tonight, and I got to pick the game tomorrow, and I'm going to sit there legitimately, and I'm telling you there's a chance I pick the Bills. There definitely is this year. And most years it was like, no. But yes, like right now, the Bills' offense is going to pose more problems. The way Allen is playing, we've talked about all the receivers. They have a good system. They can be big play, or they could do like what we saw the other night, and then you just go, we're going to be patient and play conservative, and we're just going to kind of move the ball, and if a play presents itself, okay, great, but we can run the ball and do all that. That's where they're different. And like I said in the first matchup, it was the first time ever in the Chiefs-Bills series where I went, the Chiefs D-line for the first time ever is at a disadvantage. Where they used to be able to team that go, hey, we could play all these defenses because we feel like our front four, they don't run it that good, right? So let's just play everything to stop Josh Allen making magical plays, right? Yeah. They're not going to be able to do that anymore. Because when they did that in the first matchup, the Bills ran it right down their throat. right? So that's where it's going to be different. Okay. And they're going to have to have some creative wrinkles. And we got, they always have creative wrinkles.
Sure.
And that's what I'm excited to see what they do to combat some of the things the Bills' offense does, because they did some cool things in this last game too.
So Houston, a little bit different offense, obviously, than the Buffalo Bills, and Josh Allen presents different challenges than C.J. Stroud. But still, let's take a look at some of the things that the Chiefs did here that they may or may not do against Josh coming up on Sunday. Let's start with this play about 5 minutes into the game, Chris. It was Houston's first drive, 3rd down and 10.
Yep.
What's Kansas City doing coverage-wise here?
Interesting coverage, okay? Now, they're a team a lot of the times that shows these type of things right here, and they blitz, and they bring everybody, right? Or, like the other thing they do is they show this right here, and they drop out, and they play Tampa 2, right? Where it's just like, oh, it's a 4-man rush, and it's a 7-man zone, and it's hard to find any plays to do anything against anyway. So here they are it's Texans with 3 receivers to the right, Nico Collins to the left. We know Nico Collins is their go-to guy, right? So what do the Chiefs do? The Chiefs, they got, 6 guys at the line of scrimmage. It does look like blitz. All right, so he's now looking to his right. He's got 3 guys man-to-man on his receivers to the right, but a safety over the top of it. So it's like, wow, they're playing like 2-man to the right. And on the left side, it looks like it's just Nico versus McDuffie. Mano, and you're just like, okay, let's see what happens. And, of course, C.J. Stroud's like, I like Nico Collins one-on-one versus anybody. That's what I'm looking at, right? So let's go to the next picture. It's going to be set hut. They're going to get out of there, and you're going to see here that the safety, 21, Hicks, right, he drops out to double Nico Collins, right? And within that, like, CJ right before this took a peek over there, but and Nico's running a slant, and he sees that 21 jumped out, so he's like, uh-oh, I can't go there. Now he's going back to the other side, and it's not advantageous, right? Because it's like there's 4 defenders on 3 guys. They got it locked up. And because of that, and now they got basically a 4-man pressure, but Nick Bolton is up close to the line of scrimmage. He's covering the tailback, but also up in an area where a lineman has to worry about him and still kind of worry about he might blitz, he might block. So they eat up an extra blocker there too. And this is the type of stuff Kansas City does in big moments that, like when we always talk about, hey, you might move the ball down the field and you control the game against the Chiefs, but you don't control the moments, because Spags has a special way of pulling out a defense or something you haven't seen in a moment that gets them off the field. And this ended up C.J. Stroud, nobody open. He runs to the right. And if you remember, he kind of got tackled as he run out of bounds and kind of came up gimpy because his ankle got a little hurt. But again, the magic of the Chiefs and their ability to dial up different things that you don't expect at certain times.
Yeah, 2-yard scramble there, had to settle for a field goal, and then that's a win. That's a win if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, let's go to the second half here, because now
one other thing I just want to say before we go on, before we get to the second half.
Yeah.
The other thing they did that was cool.
Okay.
They put McDuffie on the second receiver a few times, right? And said, you got him man-to-man. And then they doubled Nico with lesser than DBs, right? And I wouldn't be shocked if we saw that this week. Like if we saw maybe McDuffie on Khalil Shakir and they double Amari Cooper, or maybe vice versa. Because Amari Cooper, I don't know what his status is right now.
Yeah,
that's exactly. I don't know either. So maybe McDuffie's covering Curtis Samuel or Keon Coleman, and then they double Khalil Shakir with other guys. I could see that being a thing on big passing downs.
All right, so let's go to the second half now. We got third quarter, about 5 minutes in here. This is a 2nd and 10 here. So another passing down, potential passing down here.
Right. It covers, it's 2nd and 10. I just said with the Bills-Ravens game, like, here they are on the 40-yard line. It's 2nd and 10, but they're moving the ball, and now the Chiefs are starting to go, okay, it's gotten a little too comfortable. They're moving it. We got to do something different. It's time to win the moment here, because we can't let them go score a touchdown, maybe a field goal, but we're going to win this moment here. And here we are, 2nd and 10. It's C.J. Stroud, right? He's playing pretty well up to this point. He never misses a throw, anything like this. The Chiefs are just like, screw you. We're blitzing everybody. We feel like we've got a feel for your protection right now and where you're sliding and where the back's going. And we feel good that we're going to get home and you won't be able to throw a ball like you want to throw it because the pressure will be there. So you see again, right? It's kind of a cover zero look, right? It's 7 guys very close to the line of scrimmage. The safeties are about 6 or 7 yards off, and they're playing their guys man-to-man, right? So let's go to the next clip here. Let's see it. He drops back to pass, 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, and look what we got, right? We got man-to-man across the board. You could see the safety up top. Lucas, again, he's got the back out of the backfield. That's why he's running there, but it's cover zero. And as you look at it, there's Nick Bolton running free, right, through C.J. Stroud. So, again, Spags gets a feel for you. And my other thing is, in big moments, the Chiefs usually go aggressive, some form, some way. It's either like we're going to put a lot of people at the line of scrimmage and maybe double a guy, or we're going to blitz and bring it that way. C.J. Stroud they're a team that throws the ball hot, or they're like throw it here on this play if they. Yeah. Well, when this is where that has to change for them again. This is again an exposure of the things we talked about all year with them, where it's like no, we got to have more of a plan than hey, if they blitz you could still you could still throw the 12-yard out route. Like, yeah, okay, what about if the guy blitzes and nobody touches them and it's just free? And when I'm about to get hit, our guy that's running the 12-yard out route's like at 6 yards. Like, what do I do then, coach, right? That's why there's got to be more of a plan. He had to throw the ball with the guy at 7 yards downfield. He almost put it in a spot where the guy could catch it. It fell incomplete. And, of course, they made it 3rd and long for the Houston Texans.
It is cool to see with Spags, too, because you were talking about it, 3 years ago now when they did not have the players? And you're like, they got to do something here to mix it up, get aggressive, try to make a play. If you break, you break, but you got to make a play. And now that he's got the players, and that arguably is the stronger side of the ball for the Chiefs, he's still picking his spots to be aggressive.
Exactly right. He is. He can be, and he's always creative even when he's not aggressive. So it almost gives you the illusion of like, it still seems aggressive. And you might be like, well, no, they've actually just rushed forward and dropped into all these crazy zones the last 20 plays, but they make you think every play, and that makes you feel uncomfortable back to what we talked about with the Bills game.
So maybe that is what we'll see in this last play you have with about 7.5 to go in the game. It's a 3rd and 6. It's another cover zero, but potentially a little extra attention on Nico Collins here.
It's cool. And it's actually not cover zero here. This is cover 1. It's just true cover 1. Right? So it's okay, Pete. You f***ed up. Don't worry.
No, I said potentially cover zero.
Yeah, I said neither one of you are offensive or defensive coordinators in the NFL yet, at least. I haven't been told. But you see 3 receivers to the right. We got 3 defenders on them, right? You see that. Number 6, Cook, is in the middle, the deep middle guy, right? He's the middle free safety. That's it. We got, I believe it's McDuffie at the top of the screen. Actually, that's Jalen Watson. He's man-to-man up there. You could see Lucas, again, number 21, right? He's coming down because he's going to match Dalton Schultz, right? Right there as far as, or Jaden Hicks. I keep saying Lucas. Sorry, Jaden Hicks, 21. Jaden Hicks is coming down to take Schultz, who's at the left part of the line there as a tight end just off the ball. Okay, so here's the beauty of this. It's man-to-man. And usually when teams play to man-to-man and you see Jaden Hicks 21, when he comes up to play man-to-man, he gets up there close to the tight end. And, if he runs a 4-yard out route or something, I'm all over it, ready it. But here's where the little details and things that I see from the Chiefs that just make them extremely special. So it's man-to-man, like I said. Okay, let's play the next clip, Pete. He drops back to pass. Look at where Jaden Hicks, I have a block in my brain with his, I don't know what it is.
21. Just
21, Jaden Hicks. But here's the beauty of this. So Jaden Hicks has Schultz man-to-man. He sees Schultz as kind of like chipping the end and then going out, but they do this all the time, so it doesn't matter if he chips him or not. He plays in an area where he's almost like a zone safety, right? So I got Schultz man-to-man, but my coach told me not to come down crazy and kind of stay here in this area as a body presence to help our other guys who are playing man-to-man in case they run crossers from the other side, right? And you could see there's 2 crossers coming across. And Michi is covered by McDuffie like a glove, but the other one it looks like it's Justin Reed on Nico Collins, and Nico Collins has got to step on him. And that's where CJ wants to go with the football. But as he starts to go there, he again realizes, wait, I thought this was man-to-man, but Jaden Hicks is kind of in my way because he didn't come down and take Schultz aggressively man-to-man. So he sits there, and I don't know if we have one more clip or not. That might be it. But as he sits there and he's looking at it right now, you could see it's like, oh, yeah, Nico's got Justin Reed beat. But it doesn't matter because Jaden Hicks is standing in a spot where you can't get the ball around him, right? And those are, again, this is cover one. This is not groundbreaking. But those are little things that make them so great. I just wanted to show it because not everybody does that type of stuff. And it's little nuance like that there where most defensive coordinators are like, I don't know, when I play cover one, we can't ever stop that route. I don't want to play cover one again. Yeah. And Spags is like, no, we'll find a way that we can still play cover one, and I'll teach things a few little differently, and we can still do it, and we'll be okay.
Yeah, so those wrinkles, the Bills are going to have to figure out how to defeat those.
They will.
But to your point earlier, what are the things that the Bills offensively are able to do that the Houston Texans cannot and that could give the Chiefs trouble?
I think the Bills, it's just their overall balance, their ability to run the ball, and it's going to be more about like the coverage aspect here. I don't think the Bills have to change a whole lot on what they do on the offensive side of the ball. Their big thing is just going to be recognizing those moments, recognizing, oh, wait, here comes the blitz. Do we have the right protection? Are we going to get into a check? Is he going to change the play? Those are going to be their big things they're going to have to combat in this one. Again, because I said for the first time ever, other than whoever McDuffie's covering, they're going to feel pretty good about, oh, we like him against Jalen Watson. We like him against this guy. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So I don't look at like Buffalo is going to have to change everything they do here other than just you got to make sure you get the pressure and the chaos looks, orchestrated.
And Pete has clipped off your notebook from Week 11 with the Bills offense versus the Kansas City defense here. So is there anything else that we can glean from that earlier matchup? This is a lot of writing. This is too late in the season for me to be able to decipher
I got it,
all
but
of
this is kind of what I started with.
Similar
a little
stuff,
bit.
Right? Same kind of thing.
Little stuff, and the fact that the battle has changed, right? I wrote, when the Chiefs play a basic, you could see the Bills' O-line wins the battle. It's the first time ever in the matchup that the Chiefs are compromised that way. 95, Jones, really only D lineman who pops or makes a play, right? And then that's still a little bit of an issue with the Chiefs in general. Bigger up front, more heated wide receiver as far as the Bills are concerned. This has changed the dynamic. Chiefs' game plan can't just be stop number 17 anymore. Bills have left yards on the field in that first matchup. Allen missed some throws and got off a few wide receivers too quick, but they have controlled the match. And that's where I said I think this matchup is different, and I think this is going to be an absolute nail-biter on Sunday between these two.
What has also been very crucial for the Bills this year, as pointed out by FBG Chase.
What up?
The Bills have tied or won the turnover battle in all 19 games this year, breaking the record of most such games in a season of 18 held by the 97 Broncos, the 2000 Ravens, and the 13 Seahawks. All three of those teams won the Super Bowl.
They take care of the ball. He's patient as ever, Allen, right? Nothing seems to get him into that frenzy. Like we saw, hey, Lamar got frenzied a little bit the other night when he lost the snap and, now picks it up and, hey, I'm still going to make something happen here. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, no, it's the playoffs. Sometimes you just got to go down. It's a little different. It's 4 degrees out, right? Allen has been extremely smooth and under control here. And that's where he's different too. But yeah, this team's real. I was going to say something else off of that. But here's the thing, and I said this to you on Sunday night. They have a very similar way about them right now. As I'm the Chiefs of the ultimate win the moment team, and the Bills have really gone on winning 12 out of the last 13, kind of winning the moments. Just like we saw the other night. They've kind of got that same magic about them where they're like, yeah, you're playing good. You're moving the ball well between the 20s. But when it comes to score a touchdown, no, we knock the pass down or we make the play and you got to kick a field goal. And then we go down and it's the same scenario for us. And we go, we're going to score a touchdown. We're going to win this moment. They got a little of that magic. They were the only team this year that out-momented the Chiefs head on, right? So that's why I, of course, think they have a big chance to win this football game.
I thought last week there was a chance the Ravens-Bills matchup was our best matchup in the playoffs and could have been the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I feel the same thing about this Chiefs-Bills matchup.
Yeah,
I
mean, and especially, again, with the quarterbacks, it just feels so It feels everything. It feels like it's like the 49ers on a way to three-peat, and here comes the Giants and Jeff Hostetler, right? They want to upset it. That's been their rival, right? Oh, here's the Cowboys. They want a three-peat. Here comes Steve Young and the 49ers. They want to upset it. That's been their rival. And then this just feels the same way. It's like, nope, it's, our modern-day Brady Manning matchup right here. And it's like, it could feel like 2006 where it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's the year of the Bills and the underdog team. We'll see. But I certainly give them a big fighting chance here.
We will find out just a few days from now. What we do know for sure is the Ravens, Rams, and Texans are dead. They're done. They're gone. They have to be buried now. And so it is time to requiem them and put them in the ground. But the Rams, first of all, the homie predictions, 68% of you had them making the playoffs. So well done, homies, on that. 12
Seriously.
had them winning it all. Which, hey, they were getting hot at the end of the year. Maybe those 12 homies were like, we might have a chance at this. The Houston Texans, 91% of the homies had them making the playoffs, which they did. 10 homies had them winning it all, which they did not. And the Ravens, 93% of you guys had them making the playoffs. Well done. 6% had them winning it all, the sixth highest of any team. They really could have.
Yeah. No, they
see a scenario where that could have happened.
Definitely. I mean, the Ravens they're extremely talented. They were playing their best football. They made crucial mistakes. And we'll get into that a little later too.
They are a great regular season team. So that is the backhanded compliment of all backhanded compliments for them. So here you go. We got to lay them in the ground. The eulogies for the 2024 Ravens, Rams, and Texans.
Yeah. Hot off the presses, breaking news. Might want to stop throwing to Mark Andrews. Lamar gets nervous, it gets a little bit scary. He plans his vacations for the end of January. A few more wins, he might have to skip the 5-star hotel and the Caribbean trip. Another busted season, what the hell? For every playoff loss, Sean adds more gel. A few more losses, even more glare. Soon he'll have that Lego man hair. Last I check, you are allowed to stop your quarterback from being plowed. Us versus everyone, they said out loud, but it turned out being the line versus Stroud.
That was the rivalry, right? His own offensive lineman.
That was.
Versus the quarterback there.
Yep.
So,
Chat, they can't get the St. Louis. Yeah, they got the St. Louis Rams logo. They still got logo part is really good.
Yeah, and the double. They always put like two of one
team
in there.
One. They were like, let's add
is.
Another Texans one there, just for the hell of it.
It looks like they spelled it mostly right there. So well done on that. Good job by the AI. But
there's one eulogy that we're more excited with the rest. Okay,
yeah, that's right.
I wonder how snarky and creative that one will be.
All right,
I have a feeling it's going to be the happiest Requiem of all time.
You're not totally wrong on that. So we got to take one more break. When we come back, we will take a look at Commanders Eagles preview. We'll go into the notebook. Chris had 17 notes on this game. We'll talk about them all coming up next. Welcome back to Chris Simms Unbuttoned, presented by our friends over at Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement, and these teams know how to get first downs on fourth down.
Yeah, they do.
So the top teams at converting those fourth downs into eventual first downs, look at those top four.
Look at the Commanders, how
Bills,
far above they are
Chiefs.
everybody.
So the Commanders, I don't know where they were, Pete. Do you know where they were on times going for it? They still got to be up there
it's
because
up there.
Dan Quinn went quite a bit.
For sure.
And it was probably the happiest moment I've ever had on this podcast. They were 17th, so middle of the pack there still. I feel like that's picked up steam as the year has gone on,
I think
too.
you're right about that, too.
When you said that in this whole fourth down, go for it, don't go for it debate, you said I've won. You said it looks like now the NFL has declared Ahmed the victor.
Definitely. The league is along that lines. I mean, they're along the lines of thinking that you are and all of that. And I'm not against it.
Yeah.
I'm just like I'm not for it just being for it. I think that's what gets me sometimes, right? Like they could have done some of the things, they could have gone without some of the aggressive things they did the other night. And they still would have been a really aggressive team.
Detroit Lions you're talking
exactly
about.
Right. They, to me, went a little far in some instances the other night. And I think you're right with the league, the fourth downs, all of that. I understand it. I just think some teams get a little carried away with it, and some teams are just a little carried away with aggressive altogether. They're just like, well, we're aggressive, so we got to be aggressive all the time. And I don't mean to be doing a Dan Campbell voice there, but yeah, that's where it's like, hey, we know you're aggressive. That doesn't mean you have to live to that mantra for every moment in every game the rest of your life, right? Just because I take a night off from drinking doesn't mean like I don't like alcohol anymore. People are like, Chris is still crazy and likes to drink and smoke and do all that.
Yeah.
You know, just because I don't do it once, I'm like, oh, Chris is a square now. He didn't drink and smoke on Tuesday night. He's a square. No, I mean, I am what I am. It doesn't mean I have to just do it all the time, all the time. And that to me sometimes is where I feel like the Lions get lost in that. That's all I'm saying, okay?
And I think that is inevitable, too, right? Because I think if you had the other side of it, a coach who's super conservative, sometimes he's going to be a little too conservative. Or like, nah, that time you should have probably gone for it. So I do think that it's impossible just to toe that line without going over it sometimes. Because I agree with you. There are times where I'm just like, you know, that Packers game where they went for it, and Jared Goff tripped and almost fell down and would have given the Packers a chance to win it in regulation. You're like, now it worked out, but I think that was a little too far.
I hear you.
I think it's like when I used to cover the Warriors back in the day, it's like they actually were up there in turnovers in the league when they were dominating, like 70-some wins.
Right.
But it was like that's kind of like how they had to play. Had to be that way to kind of push the envelope. They wouldn't have been as great of an offensive team if they didn't kind of like every once in a while you're going too far.
You guys are good enough now that you don't have to do that all the time. And to me, one of the big things I would say for the game is it was a little too aggressive by everybody across the board in everything. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't even have a problem with fourth downs, nothing like that. I'm not going to hear me say one thing about any of that. Yeah. But I do think the aggressive nature of, hey, be aggressive, throw the ball in there, right? Oh, well, shit, there's 4 guys around him, and now it's a pick 6, right? It's that. You know, be aggressive, throw the post before the half, right? Yeah, but he took 4 hitches. Like, that's not how it was drawn up to do. It wasn't drawn up to hit your back step. It was drawn up to hit your back step, take a hitch, boom, throw it back there. Jared Goff hit his back step. He had some people around him. He hitched, and then he did like a half a hitch and then threw it. Yeah. But it was like aggressive, right? And I'll show, and I have some plays even on defense where the same thing. Again, your defense is not great, but it's like there was moments where it was like, we don't know what to do, so let's just go aggressive and crazy here.
Sure.
And to me, it played in the hands of Washington a few times.
Yeah.
I don't think you needed to be as aggressive with some of the game planning and some of the way the guys played, especially Jared Goff on that side of the ball, to the capacity. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I had no problem with the coaching of the situations, but more of that in the football game came back to bite in the ass.
Well, I think on the defensive side, you know, Aaron Glenn, they were getting no pressure with basic stuff, right?
Yes,
and so they had, like, he was like, what do I do? And they lost to Meek Robertson. I think it was the second play.
Yes,
and so now we've lost
early.
our best corner at this point who's still healthy. Now he's not healthy. And I do think on the offensive side, it's tough because I think of all the teams and all the offenses that we saw in the divisional round, I think the Lions, even as great as the Bills offense was and the Ravens offense, I think they averaged more yards per play. I think they had a better success rate, like over 50% of their plays were considered a success, which I think was number 1 in the divisional round.
Right.
Now, of course, they were playing that Commanders defense, which was probably the worst in the divisional round too. And so that's
my thing, is there's plays there to be had, so there was no point to force them a few times. That's what I'm trying to say.
Let's start there because the Lions are sadly out of it now,
Yeah.
and so they no longer factor into this conversation. This Commanders D and this Eagles offense, because of all the defenses, the Commanders are almost like the Lions here, right? It's like they're like great offense, can do a lot of things, go for fourth down, can be aggressive, but they got to because their defense is going to give up some points. The question with the Eagles offensively now, are they at a point where they can take advantage of some of those deficiencies with the Commanders? And
that's a big question.
Let's start with that conversation with Eagles O and Commanders D. And it does seem like no matter what Saquon Barkley faces, he is able to dominate at this point.
Well, I mean, yes, and it's not. It's because the O-line can dominate too. Like you've heard me say, I think it's an all-time great offensive line there in Philadelphia. All-time great. And yes, this is the Commanders are going to have to play some defenses and do some things and leave their comfort zone for sure. Because even in the first 2 matchups, they put a bunch of people at the line of scrimmage and still couldn't stop Saquon Barkley in a number of runs.
Almost 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, another 50 through the air in both the games combined.
That's right. And then let's not forget, Jalen Hurts didn't play for 3/4 of one of those games too, which of course helps the running game and do all that and be a little bit better. And it was Kenny Pickett's first action of the year. But yes, it's going to start all about Washington worried about run defense. Now, the good thing, and this is where you're kind of bringing me, I think, too, is the Eagles' pass offense offense. It's got to be better.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they got to be Kurt Warner and the 99 Rams and the greatest show on turf. Right? They might be able to get away with it. They're that good that they might still be able to win the Super Bowl with passing performances like we saw the other day. But it's certainly a lot riskier, and you're rolling the dice, right? To where you'd go, I'd like us to be able to, like, if a team plays crazy run defense, that we could still go, hey, we could throw the ball on them here and be successful. With them right now, you don't know if you feel that. And then I think, too, on top of that, when Lattimore is out there and Sainristil is a baller, right? Number 0 on the other side. They got 2 guys out there that I think they're going to go, like we just talked about with the Bills defense a little bit, or the Chiefs in some big situations. They're going to go, let's let them play Devontae Smith and A.J. Bray man-to-man, and let's just we got to take a chance here because we might get overpowered by the run game or whatever else, so we got to disrupt that. We might be outnumbered by the quarterback-designed run, but they're going to feel good about that, and they're going to feel good about it, too, to where they can come up with a game plan. And another thing I've said a million times is just the Eagles don't do a lot in the passing game. So, once you start to feel like, oh, this is how they're attacking us today and they're going to this group of plays, you can come up with some defense where you can play run defense and not have a lot of people attributed to the pass game and still have them in the right areas because you kind of know what to expect according to what formation they're in the pass.
You said the offense looked disjointed at times for the Eagles. Hurts not seeing the field that well. The passing game is just out of sync.
Out of sync. It's been an issue for them for most of the year, no matter what, but not to this extent. We've talked. I've been telling you this for the last year and a half, right? It's if you can make Jalen Hurts and that offense rely on the pass and the passing game, there's been flaws there, but it's gotten worse and really come to a head ever since he got hurt in Washington because he missed some weeks of practice, and it just has not been able to regain, some of the same looks and playmaking ability that we saw before that. Maybe it happens this week, but it's got to get a little bit better. Yeah, Hurts, the throwing is off, right? The leaving the pocket a few times when you don't have to. And in the Rams game, he definitely was on the wrong side of the field a few times. Like the Rams did some different things, and they might have disguised and backed out, and he thought it was one coverage, and he looked to the left, and it was like, no, it's the other coverage. You got to look over there. This one's over here. And there was just that, and it was all over the place. Yeah. Their offense was scary the other day. I mean, as I said to you Sunday night, there was no offense. There was none. It was just 7 plays. It was like 3 or 4 Barkley runs, the one Jalen Hurts run, a swing pass to Barkley that was on a 3rd and 14 that he got a first down, and a crosser to Goddard, if you remember. That was the whole game. There was no other offensive consistency. And that's hard to win the Super Bowl that way. They're damn good and might still be able to do it, but, man, it's risky, as we saw on Sunday afternoon playing that way.
You said the good thing, if they can run the ball, that makes things easier for Hurts, and maybe can get some better looks right there, and maybe run a little bit more on second long, too, just because that's obviously the best part of your offense so far.
Right. They get too much into the trap, too, of sometimes, like, people usually play run defenses on first down, right? And they might run it, which I'm fine with, and they maybe lose a yard or two. But now it's 2nd and 12, and they're almost like by the book, like, now we're going to throw it. And all teams do is they go play coverage, and you're like, well, like, I've seen this guy run for 15 yards a play, like, in a full game, like a whole game long. So let's just do it again if they're going to play pass defense to this extent, right? And that's where, again, I'd like to see them do a little more of double plays at the line of scrimmage, whatever, because, as I've told you, they waste more plays than they should for being as good as they are on that side of the ball.
Now, you mentioned that the Eagles' offensive line, all-time great.
Yeah.
Probably be able to out-physical the Commanders, but they did not always do that against the Rams.
They did not.
When you watched it back.
No, the Rams' quickness got them. The snow bothered the Eagles more. Right? And that's where I don't love elements all the time, because I said this in our meeting room before the game started. I said, because they were like, well, don't you think, the bigger teams that have the advantage of the snow? No, the snow usually just equalizes everything to a degree. Now the big team who's used to having their cleats in the ground and moving people out of the way, they can't quite get them in the ground the same way, and they might slip or whatever, right? And then sometimes with the big team, it's like, hey, Jared Verse puts a move on, and I fell for that first move, and now, I'm trying to get back, but it's snowy and slippery, and I can't get back and even get an arm on you, and usually I can because I'm so big and I can just knock you out of the way that way.
Right.
So it's some of that. Let alone the Eagles are also the faster team. So that's the other element that people missed on Sunday. Yeah, they're bigger, but they are faster too. So it hurt them more than I felt like the Rams.
Yeah.
But the Rams still brought it physically. They really did. I mean, their D-line, they got to be so proud of the way they played in a lot of downs. Like I told you Sunday night, if there was 131 plays in the game, the Rams won 115 of them. It's just when they lost them, it was disaster. And that's what stinks for them. And that's what we're going to have to see if the Commanders can replicate some of what the Rams did on Sunday.
Yeah, Pete has gone through here and looked at that Eagles offense. So there were 215 yards on the 4 longest plays for the Eagles.
That's what I'm saying.
The Barkley 78 and 62-yard touchdowns.
The Hurts
44-yard touchdown, and the Goddard 31-yard reception.
So that's their whole day right there. That's what I'm saying. And then you add on this 16-yard gain on 3rd and 14 to Saquon Barkley, and you go, well, yeah, shit, that is their whole day. I mean, that was it. It was 6 or 7 plays was their whole statistical output.
215 of their 285 yards came on 4 plays.
That's crazy. Yeah,
that is crazy.
It is.
Wait, that was just rushing.
Yeah, 350 yards
350,
total.
Okay, yeah. So it's still crazy.
It is still crazy.
Still crazy. And the Rams outgained them. They had 402 in the game. So we've seen this before in the championship games where one team has a rookie quarterback, but in all 5 previous rookie quarterbacks starting the conference championship game, Pete notes here in the rundown, they had a top 3 scoring defense in all of those. So here's the statistic. Well done, put together, guys, back there. The Commanders, unfortunately for them, they are 18th. Now, Jaden Daniels, not your normal, typical rookie quarterback.
No, he's better than anybody on that list was in their rookie year.
Doesn't necessarily need an elite defense, but it would help.
Yeah.
It would definitely help. And so that is, there's going to be more on a rookie quarterback in a conference championship game than maybe we have ever seen.
There's no question there will be. I mean, Mark Sanchez and them, they were run the ball and run bootlegs and maybe an occasional play-action pass, right? Flacco, same type of thing, but they trusted him a little bit more with the pass game maybe than some of the. Brock Purdy ran the offense, but their offense was awesome, we know. But yes, this offense goes through Jaden Daniels. He is the offense. And some of the things he does is going to make Philadelphia uncomfortable. Philadelphia, as much as I love their defense, they are a little too bland and simple for me at times. They are too good to let teams do what they do. They're another team that I would sit here and go, I love Vic Fangio's scheme, right? There's so much, they're sound and all that, but they don't create enough at times. And when they created stuff in the game the other day, that's where both fumbles happen in the game. That's where I'd like to see them. If they play kind of their normal, we're going to be conservative and we're going to be sound and all that, Jaden Daniels is going to pick them apart. He will pick them apart. And the fact that the Commanders can run the football, right? So they're going to have to find a splash of being a little more aggressive than they normally are. And also, I think, have to play a hair more man-to-man than they normally do, which I think they can do at a very high level, and I wish they would call it a little bit more because all their guys can cover, let alone we know they got a pass rush that can go with it, and in a week like this week with Jaden Daniels and his ability to run too, I would think you'd want to play a little bit more man than normal against this guy.
So you did note that when the Lions went to blitz in this game and did not get there, the Commanders can create huge openings there and gash them.
They have answers, right? If you blitz, Kingsbury's got some plays and some calls that are going to gash you. And Jaden Daniels does things at the line of scrimmage, too, where they must alert him and, hey, get to this if they get into that blitz or whatever else, and he's very good at making sure that happens, too. So, yeah, I mean, the Lions did it in some ways of they can play man-to-man that way. The Eagles should be able to.
Sure.
But, I do believe we have a screenshot of this game, right?
We do have one.
Yeah.
Yep. This is the 58-yard screen.
And this is where you got to be careful about going crazy aggressive here. Mm-hmm. But this is where I don't see the Eagles being aggressive like this. If the Eagles are aggressive like this, and here we got a bunch formation to the left, right? Really extended from the rest of the formation. It's tight end to the right, 3 receivers to the left, and a bunch way out by the numbers with the ball being on the right hash. But here's the first problem with this. Yeah, you're worried about the pass rush. They're probably worried about read option with Jaden Daniels off the edge. But they got 3 guys up there, and you got almost 1.5.
That doesn't seem good.
Right? Just from that look alone.
Yeah.
And this is, to me, again, where I'm all for aggressive. right? I'm not always going for it from fourth down, but I'm for aggressive play calling, defenses, offenses. You know that. This to me goes a little bit into we've left aggressive land and now we're in crazy land, okay? That's where. And there's just a few calls like this during the game where I just went, I don't know if it was necessary to go quite this aggressive here. So here he is. He sees this look. And again, I don't think the Eagles will give them this look. The Eagles will have 3-on-3 up there, right? Or 2.5 versus 3, where they have like one guy kind of playing between the receivers and the line of scrimmage with two guys clearly out there on them. This one, like we said, we got one corner there. Melon Fonwu, the safety, is 12 yards off the ball and inside and quite a distance from them. And then the next closest defender, I think, is Brian Branch, who's going to be blitzing off the slot. So Jaden Daniels gets to the screen. Let's show it to Terry, Scary Terry, up to the left. And look at, see, this is where the one guy you got close is blocked right off the bat. Now you have Melon Fonwu running down from space, right? From quite a distance. And McLaurin's about to get the ball, and he's got De'Ami Brown in front of him who's blocking no one and just looking for work, right? So this is just an advantageous look for the Washington football team. He catches the ball, and De'Ami Brown, of course, blocks Melon Fonwu, and it's off to the races. He splits the two defenders who are being blocked, and now you have nobody there. And that, again, to me, I know, and I'm not trying to kick you while you're down or anything like that. I like watching your football team, and I like your coordinators. But I just thought on both sides of the ball, there was elements of a little like, we didn't need to go that crazy, right? And that would be my only correction of the game from them overall. I understand they had to be aggressive to a degree because of their limitations and people they're missing on defense, but I just thought it went a hair overboard in this one.
This is partly how I've reconciled this game, too, is that I think with all the injuries the Lions have had, and how they had to play almost mistake-free offensively, which they did most of the season.
Yeah, right.
I think they would have had a hard time beating the Eagles. I think they would have had a real hard time beating either the Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, whoever got there from the AFC.
I hear you. There's a silver line in there, too.
Who do you think you would have picked, Eagles or Lions?
I would probably taken the Eagles.
Yeah.
I probably would have. It would have made me think. Here's one little aspect. I'm just going to read you my notes, all right? Philly will never give the look, what I wrote there, right? They'll never give that look. Vic is borderline on the opposite side, like I've told you, like a little too conservative at times, right? But, I get coming to the game plan with aggressive, like to be aggressive. But at some point, you got to go, hey, we're actually playing well and hanging in there when we're not aggressive. Like, that was the big thing that jumped off to me. I was going, man, when you guys just play kind of the boring status quo defense, you were actually playing well and giving them problems, right? So you got to go, hey, we're playing well. We're hanging with them when we're not aggressive, and we are getting killed when we are aggressive. So not sure they are blitzing to stop the run or the pass. It's not working versus either, and that was just one of my 2 cents about the game overall.
One of the players on defense for the Eagles is a problem, and that is Jalen Carter. And he messed up the game for the Rams at the end there multiple times. They had to double team him. You gotta know where he is with multiple guys. The Commanders, who have a pretty good offensive line, but they did lose Sam Cosmi.
That's big.
Can they handle Jalen Carter?
They're going to definitely have to help out on him, right? The one thing you notice is that like I said last week, every team is basically, we got to worry about Jalen Carter first. He's the first guy you notice. Because when he's one-on-one, like you saw at the end of the Rams game, he shit up, right? So that's what he does. Now that's going to be their tough task there. And that's what's going to be the tough task all day. To me, one of the keys of the game is going to be, can the Washington team run when Philly plays pass coverage, right? When Philly plays, let's play conservative, too deep, blah, 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 do all that, right? That will be imperative that Washington can run against those looks, because if they can't, it's going to be hard to do anything throughout the game. And then if they can't, that means that when they do run Jaden Daniels on a quarterback design run, somebody's going to be there to stop him and all of that. So that's where the Cosmi thing hurts, and it's going to be a tough task. I think it's going to be a game where they might have to be like surgically destroying you with their short passing game, intermediate passing game, what they usually do, and you hope to get them to be worrying about that, then maybe where you could start running the ball from there because they're so worried about being picked apart.
Washington reminds me so much of the Lions last year. I mean, they're even more ahead of schedule than the Lions were. We saw it a little bit coming with the Lions, but Washington came out of nowhere. So it almost wouldn't surprise me if I'm sitting there and we're in the second half. And it's like, hey, Washington's up 10 right now.
They're aggressive and they're going for it. That's where they are, like you guys. And the Eagles, who are not playing their best ball and seem a little off kilter. Listen, I hear you. I don't think that would be some shocking revelation there. My problem with the Eagles right now is just it's too simple, right? It's too simple on the defensive side of the ball for good QBs and good OCs. They're damn good on D. We know that. It's the number one D in football. But the reason they had some problems stopping Stafford and McVay the other day, because there's just too many times where he comes to the line of scrimmage and he's like, oh, it's 4-3, cover 2. It's 4-3, cover 1, right? There's nothing there. Coverages are simple. Disguises are simple. Blitzes are simple. Yes, it's sound, but good QBs and OCs are going to make it unsound when they know what you're doing all the time in the run or pass. And that's where I say they just got to find, they don't need to reinvent the wheel, but they just got to find a little touch of aggressive creativity every now and then. They're good enough to play it simple and almost beat most teams in football, but this is a special team with a hot offense. And, of course, in the Super Bowl, if they get there, it's going to be a special team with special quarterbacks and a special coordinator and all that, too. And that's where I think that they can grow as a team.
Your pick will come tomorrow. Now, where are you with Mike? Now, do you have to go out on a limb here to try to catch up to him? Where are you in the standings?
I'm win best bets. I actually think I'm a game behind him in straight up. Right.
Ooh, so what do you do?
I know. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Do you zag when he zigs here?
No, I don't do that. I just pick what I think I was going to pick, and I hope he's wrong. The thing that gets me with Mike a lot of the times is he hears what I say and think all week, and I feel like I osmosisly knock it in his brain about what team or who has matchup, and then we end up picking the same teams.
It's exactly what happens to me too. My friends ask me about something, and they go, "Oh, that's pretty smart. Where'd you think of that?" I was like, "It's Chris's words. I'm just repeating them now to you because they have become my words right there."
Thank you.
Pick incoming tomorrow. All right, we have to do this, I guess. I guess it's part of what we have to do.
It is.
We have to lay the Lions to rest here.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna be amazing.
97% had them making the playoffs. 56% had them making the conference championship game. Second most behind the Chiefs. 34% had them making the Super Bowl. Again, second behind the Chiefs. 9% had them winning it all, including Ahmed Fareed. You had them losing in the NFC Championship game. Pete had them losing the Super Bowl. And they will do none of that. They are done. They are dead. And now we bury them.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. Do not throw it there or to that player. Please stop giving that damn ball away. He plays for the red team, and so does he. He's a Washington guy, and that guy too. You did it twice, and now a third time. This can't get worse. Oh yes, it can. Please stop throwing it to those men. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. Do not throw it there or to that player. Maybe it's just bad luck.
Yeah.
So you won't swear, but you put it in. You'll write the letters in the chat.
I'll make a computer swear.
You'll make a computer swear.
Not above that.
No, you're not
above that.
Yeah, that was good. That was
I needed something to pick me up.
It was positive snarky. It was
but
positive snarky.
I still got my frustrations out.
Yep.
And, Jared Goff is still, the whole chanting Jared Goff's name became a thing in Michigan and around Detroit. And I think it still will be, but now this is a tough way to end the year for him.
It is. You're definitely right. It's, maybe not going to be as passionate about their Jared Goff chant until things get going positively again next year.
Well, and the thing that sucks is they're approaching Ravens territory now already, where it's just like, all right, another good regular season would be cool, but Jared, what are you going to do in the playoffs?
Yeah.
It just heaps more and more pressure on these guys, but oh well. They're still better than they have been many, many years in the past. We'll finish off our podcast with number 6 in our pick 6 here. And it's a shout out to the homies who correctly picked all 4 teams to make the conference championships. Nobody. Out of 665 entries, not a single person picked the Commanders to make the conference championship.
Wow. Well, I partly blame myself. I'm supposed to lead the homies in the right direction, and I didn't lead them down that lane.
I mean, I would. Who out there did? We got to see.
I don't know anybody that did.
Probably a fan, a super fan, or whatever. Which more? Props to you.
Yep.
33 homies only had them making the playoffs, and so no one had them making the championship. We do want to shout out 16 homies who picked the Chiefs, Bills, Eagles to make the conference championship.
It's
and
impressive.
Here they are. Here are your names. I'll read them real quick. Cam Stevens, Cameron Phillips, Chad Barrett, Chris Webber. Oh, Chris Webber.
Yeah.
Good job. Or Weber, maybe. Colin Rooney, David Torres, Draga Svetsios. Okay, all right.
Yep.
Jake Osgathorpe.
Yep.
Jobier Ahmed. Wow, we got an Ahmed. Good job, Ahmed. Lane Williams, Mike Royton, Paul Komorowski. We got Sean O'Keefe, we got Stefan Henriksen, we got Stephen Cummins, and then we got Travis Young. Congratulations, homies.
Way to go.
For doing it. 3 out of 4 ain't bad.
And 38 of them picked Eagles Chiefs, and 7 of them picked Eagles Bills.
So we do have someone that can be perfect from here on out.
Do.
Bunch of people. And we will shout you out if you're the homies that did that. So we don't know who you're going to pick yet. You're rooting for Eagles Chiefs, though, I think. I think your heart says you want that to be the Super Bowl.
I don't know if I do.
Oh.
I'm not sure if I do. I was just trying to be honest in that I think that would be...
You're worried about Washington getting blown out. You want a good Super Bowl.
I do. You know me. I'm always rooting for that. I am.
Chiefs or Bills? Like not your pick, but...
Yeah, like the rooting for it. It's that's a tough one for me. You know that.
You're not going to be sad either way.
I'm not.
You're going to be sad either way, but you're also going to be happy
Exactly
either way.
right. That is. I love Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I love them. And Travis Kelce. They've always been great to me, and I respect what they do. And that, of course, is the same thing with freaking Sean McDermott. Not that I know him as well, but I've been around him a lot. He knows I'm a huge fan of his. He's been great to me. And, of course, my boy Blue is my boy Blue.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, these are my 2 favorites. This is like 2 of my step cousins, all right? I know they're not their step brothers that I root for. I feel like a proud papa to these guys. I want to, I always feel like I said these guys are going to be good before they were good, right? I love them and I love their game. So that's what it's going to be awesome.
Brothers, cousins, and kids. Only in Kentucky or wherever is that possible.
Yeah, that's my dad. That's where he's from. Exactly. So that makes sense. All right, that's it. We did it. You the man.
You too.
Way to go. It's a great USA sweatshirt you brought today. Look at you.
Support
Look
the
at
country.
you.
Why not?
Patriotic Ahmed over here. Thanks for everything. Thanks for driving the ship as always. Stop drinking that crap to your right, okay? It's bad for you. You know where to find us all week long. We got tomorrow the Picks Pod. Ahmed mentioned it already. PFT PM. Me and Florio. Chris Simms Unbuttoned going at it. I need to tie him up in the straight up picks. We'll be doing that Thursday morning. Tune into that. And as usual, we'll be doing the pod. We're going to figure that out as we talk right now after the show. I think we're going to do the pod Sunday night, but we're not totally sure yet. So we're going to work on that and discuss that, but we will let you know. Everybody, you know where to find us. Peace out. Thanks, homies. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to all the entries. Clap it up.
Clap it up.
Thanks for watching Chris Simms Unbuttoned. It's playoff time, baby.
So make sure to smash that subscribe button, as they say. We got game recaps coming up. We got all of our Super Bowl 59 coverage from Radio Row. You will be in New Orleans yourself.
And you're going to be there at some point, too, whether you like it or not.
Okay.
Thanks again for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out, homies.